Good evening, fellow Toastmasters.
Good evening.
This is Nelia. She lives in a country in Africa named Rwanda, and she's 79 years old. Never met her in person, but I've been supporting her financially for around 10 years now. What I want you to know about Nelia is that she lost her husband, her family members in the genocide. She has a son who was severely traumatized from there. He hits her regularly at her old age, and she lives in poverty. But Nelia doesn't want to be a victim. She's a survivor. Even though she's 79 years old, she still has ambitions. Let me share her ambition with you. My ambitions are developing myself and get the ability to do modern cultivation. I want to have a banana plantation and also grow vegetables. I want to buy another sheep. It's in my plans. It's my honor to support Nelia in her ambitions. And what I want to do today is to convince you all to find someone or something to give to unconditionally. Because our support is needed in this world. According to the World Bank, there's still 10% of people living on less than $2 a day. That is the extreme poverty line. And even though you think, oh, 10%, that's actually not that bad, it means that there's 600 million people living in poverty. Most of them children living in poorer areas of the world and having no access to education. Let me give you some more figures why it's important to start donating, not so much why it's important to start donating, but first let's see what are the figures about donations. So according to the American Institute for Giving, around 70 to 80% of people gives. Probably you give, when there is a request from a friend, there's an action for smarter, somebody is doing something, you give a little. But more is needed, because there's still a lot of people who don't give or who give only on occasion. What are the reasons for not giving? The first one is money. People say they don't have money for finances. The second reason for not giving is because people prefer to volunteer time or give goods rather than money. And the third one is because they don't trust the organizations that do the giving. All valid reasons, right? Now let's zoom into one that might be relevant to you. Of course, this is UBD, students, and maybe you're not a student anymore, but maybe somewhere in your heart you still remember those days, You didn't have much money, you start your first job, it's still, it doesn't pay as well as you like, and you think, I would love to make the world a better place, money, right? And let me give you a few examples what you could do with your money. If you save only $1 a day, that's $365 a year. With that money, you could pay for someone's education. If you regularly buy coffee or regularly buy bubble tea, once a week, why don't you not bring one from home and save that $5 Starbucks latte? In a year, it builds up to $260. You could buy 2 sheep for that money for a farmer. And even if you don't think, that's still way too much, way too out of our budget, if you start saving 10 cents a day now, then at the end of the year, you'll be able to buy one class of a school in Labi a pen for each class member. Even though it is small, you can still make a contribution. Imagine this for a moment, that we start making the world a better place together. Take in your mind a cause that is really relevant for you. children? Is it for wildlife? Is it for beautiful, for contributing to the eradication of a disease? Maybe cancer, Alzheimer, lupus? Imagine what it would give to you to make an impact on this cause. What impact it would have on that person that benefits from that money. Imagine that if we all do something together, or if you do something together with others invested in this, how much joy it would bring, not just to the other person, but to you. The feelings that it would give you. Fellow Toastmasters, together we can make an impact if we start donating to a cause near our heart. Don't just choose any cause, but choose one that matters for you. Set your priority. Make it on a certain category of issues. Make it on a certain geographic region. It can be close to home. It can be really far from home. Choose something and make your impact. Nelia wrote me a letter to this recently. Every year she has to write an update about how it's going with her. And fellow Toastmasters this year touched my heart because she thanked me, because she said I was a special person in her life. And I thought, wow, I'm a special person in her life, and I must write back to her, because what is the essence is that she's a special person to me. She inspires me. She shows me that you can overcome hardship. She shows me that you never have to be a victim, even if you've lived through genocide. What a gift is it for me to make an impact on someone's life. I hope that you will also start giving this gift to others. With that, you say.